life being a bitch, which is true. That is true, right? But it is also a living miracle. It is, which is equally true. So we come back to again, what do we invest in? But if it's okay, dude, I want to go back to where we started last time
Hmm.
with Kung Fu Panda to qualify the fact that, the potency of that, that, slightly amusing little ditty from a cartoon has its foundation in, the roots of, yoga, the roots of Hinduism and
Hmm.
Buddhism and Taoism. Uh, where again the Buddha talked about finding refuge in the moment, in the now. And in Hinduism, it's called kasana, which translates to mind moment. Yes?
Yeah, yeah.
Life is a series of mind moments. We are always in the now. We cannot not be in the now until we drop dead, and then we don't know where we're going to be.
Yeah,
But in life, we can only be in the now. We can be in the now referencing the past or referencing the future, but there is only this ongoing now.
yeah. Yesterday, or not yesterday, last week, me and David, when he was driving me home, we were talking about, he was like, "Oh, it's just going by so fast. My days are going by so fast." And then I brought up what you and me had been talking about, but I was like, if we gauge it in moments where it's now, 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 we have a lot of those in the day. And he was like, "Yeah, it's a great point. Like, if you really think about it, like, if you come back to each moment and you're here in the now, which is hard to do, very hard to do, but just in terms of now, 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 there's thousands. Well, I mean, I don't want to put a
No, no,
specific
no,
number, but there's
thousands,
there's there's
thousands.
lots and lots of those in a
Right.
day.
And the Buddhists even, it's like, there's like, I don't know, like 1,000 kasanas in 1 minute. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Right?
seriously.
And it is true that again, old people always say it goes by so fast, right? I am not bragging. I'm not, but I am going to acknowledge in my own case because I work with the clock.
Hmm.
Unlike you, I wear a watch, and
Yeah.
like you, my days are filled up with hours, minutes, and schedules. And I mean, I got to go at 1:30 to the high school if I can do it in the snow to get my vaccination shot. You know what I'm saying,
Yeah.
right? But again, we do not need to live with that as our reference of life passing. We can go into, as you just did, now, 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 now,
Here.
now.
Yeah.
And the fact is, it makes life much, much longer.
Yeah, I think maybe for a lot of us, including me, is that like, and right now is a good example because quarantine. I'm in my house and my days are pretty like similar. Each day is very similar, and so it's harder for me to get out of that. Oh, it's just the same. Every moment's the same, and and this now it kind of extends into a whole day, and but it isn't a whole day. It's just that that's where my focus or attention on is this. The day is the same now. The day is the same now, and I think that also happens when I'm at work. And when I'm in that work cycle, and each day becomes the same and the same, and you're just going through the drudgery, and that's a good comparison to just coming back into the now, because you can still do that in all of those times, but we get so caught up in just, I guess, just like just the drudgery of the repetitiveness, that we forget to think about the here and the now being unique, opposed to tomorrow or the day before.
Right. Or if I may, actually experiencing it as unique. Now,
Right.
here we go again with the reference of, you know, um, this is an engaging idea, perhaps. I mean, to me, it's a very engaging idea, and it has been for a long time when I began studying Hinduism and Buddhism, and reading dear old Ram Dass's "Be Here Now."
Yeah. Exactly.
So, again, as an engaging idea, it has a certain potency.
Yeah.
What you and I are doing is we are chewing on these ideas enough so that they gain more and more and more validity. You understand? So that
Hmm.
then they're not just passing, engaging ideas, and more and more as we go back to the truth of them.
Yeah.
Then they begin to become potent facts instead of just engaging ideas. And then being in the now, I mean, it is not a belief system. It is logic to say that right now I am in the Milky Way galaxy. Right now, I am in whatever the Big Bang is Big Banging into. Yes or no?
Yeah, I mean, for even for the most simple reason for me is just to kind of make you appreciate what's, the reality of the situation in terms of being here in this redundant situation, which, but what if you really look at it, take some, perspective and look back, we're in space and we're flying through the cosmos on this, planet ship Earth, and there's millions of different unique species here that don't exist anywhere else in the universe that we know of, and all of this amazing, incredible stuff that's, we take for granted. But if you step
We take
back,
for granted.
if we step back and we look at that, I think it can help us uh, not defeat or combat the repetitiveness that we feel life is,
Yes, exactly right. And again, the issue is not really our fundamental complaint about life. All this, that young guy talking about being in existential angst or whatever he said, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Is the fact that we have suffering and mundanity, and that's it.
Exactly, yeah.
And it doesn't make sense. It's true. If life is, the grocery store and aging and dying, it sucks. That's awful. Well, the fact is does not begin to be what life is.
Yeah.
Life is so much more than that. But because we are habituated to this redundant little round, you know what I mean?
hmm
As a species.
Yeah.
This,
Yeah, I'm trying to ask a pointed question, but I can't really quite think of the question. But my thought is, you know, most of us, it goes back to what I was just saying, but why do you think that most of us get stuck in the drudgery opposed to seeing an alternative? Like you said, it's the same amount of work to make yourself happy or miserable, but it's all upon you. It's the same amount of work in the end. It's just you have to decide. So like, why do people tend to go towards the negative, the sad, the depressing? This is all life's a bitch and then you die, opposed to the
because we're
opposite.
habituated to it. That's all. That's all. That is all. We are habituated to it. Just like we are habituated to life being a small thing. Life is not a small thing. Life is astonishing. It's impossible. It's impossible. What you and I are in the middle of is impossible. Again, blind matter has gained the capacity of intellect, of love. I mean, how does that happen? How does that happen?
Yeah, I mean, I get so tripped out just on being sometimes. I'm like, like just thinking about the impossibilities of, of like time and space and all of those, things that break your mind. When I start thinking about them and just thinking about like there is like almost no answer to me. Like I can't think of an adequate answer that explains what I am, what life is, what experience is, what this realm is, and what could possibly be before or after. It seems like not that it's such a big question, but it seems like
Yes,
there is no
dude,
answer.
it is a very big question.
Yeah.
Again, this is Frank Herbert, the guy who wrote Dune, saying the mystery of life is not a riddle to be solved, it is a reality to be experienced. When you and I have talked about Christ saying, except ye be as little children, ye cannot enter the kingdom of heaven. And in the heretic gospel of Thomas that was found when they dug up the Dead Sea Scrolls in like the early 1950s, in there, Christ says, the kingdom of heaven is spread before us, but men see it not. That is because we apply all these tiny ideas to what life is, and we think that that's that as answers. Yes? So,
Yeah, it makes sense to me. Yeah, we just say, you know, life is a bitch and you die, and we know that for certain or for sure, and that's how it is. And then we just add all the existential dread upon it, and then there's no way to really escape that.
unless we actively think. What I mean, right?
Yeah.
As Krishnamurti, one of his books is entitled The Awakening of Intelligence. The thing is, we need to return to the mystery of life. We need to return to the fact that it is so astonishingly vast and so astonishingly subtle that, maybe looking to answer it is not what we need to do. For years, when people have said to me, "What is your religion?" I say, again, I have to qualify this. Agnostic is an incorrect way of pronouncing agnosos, Knosis. Gnosos means knowledge in Latin or Greek. I'm not sure which, right? So agnosos, agnostic, means without knowledge. So when people ask me what my religion is, yeah, I'm thinking about a Buddhist who asked me this when I was in my mid-40s. My answer was, I am an ecstatic agnostic.
Don't know.
But the accent is on ecstatic. You
Yeah.
feel me?
Yeah.
Now, what do you make of that?
That
Remember,
it
you're
is,
allowed to call bullshit. You're allowed to call bullshit.
yeah.
Yeah?
For me, ecstatic kind of comes to exciting. Like it is an exciting, like it is a filled with like with energy and with like a pulse. It is an exciting form of not knowing.
Yeah.
You are in
But it's
bliss, not
also,
knowing, almost
ecstasy is filled with joy.
joyous.
Yeah.
Yeah, ecstasy. That's the word I was thinking of, something like ecstasy, but I wasn't thinking of exactly ecstasy. I was thinking of more ecstatic, but ecstasy is kind of what I was trying to go towards. That makes
Ecstasy
a lot of sense.
actually means, hence the name X and all the
Yeah,
rest of it,
yeah,
right? Ecstasy means, right, an awe-filled joy. That's what it means.
yeah,
Yeah. So I am an ecstatic agnostic. I
yeah.
don't know. And just like all the Zen guys, remember there's that Zen koan where the punchline is not knowing is most intimate. Now, this is not where I wanted to go today, but should we go into this a little bit?
Well, I really like it because it definitely explains exactly what I was talking about. That just like the concept that reality is so complex and so big that like it can break the mind. But why this is important is because it's not just mundanity, and we get stuck in that mundanity. And if we're
Right.
able to
Right.
really look at how complex and just mind-boggling the universe is, maybe we can get out of that mundanity for a second to really appreciate this small amount of time that we have here, or at least start to, an on-road into that.
Well done. Well done. Very, very, very well stated. You are exactly right. And this is what I mean by our issue really with life is, it's bills, chills, and spills, and it hurts unto death. Yes?
Yeah.
Now, again, on one hand, that's not wrong. But that is,
Yeah.
again, the Zen guys say that the Dharmakaya, which is basically, the mind of God, is what it would be called in the West, is so vast that it encompasses everything. It's so subtle that it permeates everything. Yes? So, but again, that does not break the mind, right? That infuses the mind with wonder, with awe, you see, if you take it seriously. If it ceases from being, a passing idea and you chew on it, chew on it. Right?
So
How valid is this? How valid are these ideas? And again, we're not talking about a belief now. We are talking about facts. You understand? Facts. Just like Jack Webb, that old TV show, just the facts, ma'am. Well, we can take the facts and, reconsider them with enough focus that the potency of them begins to become real. We are in the middle of a deadly miracle. This is the truth, right? Life is miraculous. It is going to kill us. That is true. So with that being the case, what is the lesson to be learned if we are in the middle of this affair that is limited engagement? If that is the case, because it is, what would then be, as choice, as free will, what would be the best way to spend this time?
So what comes to my mind is that that little ditty about the Sunday wasted in a rainy day. Do you remember it?
Yeah, that's from the Don Juan thing, where all of life is like a Sunday afternoon, not thoroughly miserable, but rather hot and uncomfortable. He didn't know where to go or what to do. And then suddenly it was over. It was already night. Is that the one you mean?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. It's like that's all of us, That's all of us. We
Dude,
sit there on our
that is not me, and this is not you. That is not the case. We have been talking about this for a long enough time. You and I, a decade we've been at this. Yeah. Yes? And we've been talking about this enough that these are no longer just engaging ideas. We begin to work on potent facts. Yes?
Yeah.
And when it becomes potent fact, it begins to renew us. Yes or no, dude?
Hi. No, definitely.
Right?
Definitely. And I think that, I don't know, for people listening to this, to not get, I don't know, what is the word, just tired of us too quickly, or just be like, whatever, this is all bullcrap. But, the fact that we're talking about real facts, and then we can kind of break it into the woo woo or to the esoteric, but at least we start with some foundation. And I think that will help a lot of people kind of see that this is actually more of a simple guidelines on how to live your life, rather than like, this is how you live your life. Like maybe some religions or some societies say you do this, you do this, you do this, and that's how you live a life. Like we're proposing more simple guidelines based upon facts that have been going on for thousands of years through through observation of people, like in Zen Buddhism and all of that stuff. But I think that for you and me, we're not saying that these ideas have made our lives, we're not like always happy. It's not like we're perfect,
of course not. Of course not.
Always happy people and everything's solved now because we think like this. It's that there's going to be bad, there's going to be good. We're going to be sad, we're going to be mad, but at least with these ideas, we can learn to balance the two so that our life's not wasted.
Hype. And again, not just not wasted, but has the potential to be filled with wonder. Filled with wonder. Yeah. Yes? And it is true. Like Pirates of the Caribbean, right? It's more like guidelines.
Yeah,
right?
Exactly. Yeah.
More like guidelines. What we're doing. Yeah, we are in fact talking about guidelines, and this is not meant to sound arrogant because we are exploring, which is why I want you as a young man, right, to say to me as an old man, right, I smell bullshit. The only deal is then, right, to be a representative of you guys at your age, right, in the beginnings of life, right, to represent the people who say, I won't do bullshit. And I applaud so many of you young people for saying, I won't do bullshit, right? So let's get into this thing and, explore to the place where we are defining if it is bullshit or if it is not bullshit.
Definitely.
Right?
And my only thing with that is I think that I'm typically good at being a devil's advocate, but this is one situation where it's actually really hard for me because I so many of my friends and peers and ex-girlfriends and friends and whatever, all these people I've known in my life, they have strong beliefs like life's a bitch and you die and there's no way to get out of it. And I've never really seen that way. And so it's been so hard for me to get on their side and to understand what they're seeing. And it's actually probably a disservice on my part because I should probably be more understanding. But it's really hard for me to do that. And so it's hard for me to play the devil's advocate in this situation because I'm like, yes, I totally, it's hard for me to see the opposite side sometimes because it's like some of these ideas, we've been talking about them for a long time now. It's been almost 10 years, probably plus, but so it's like ingrained in me, so it's hard for me to play the devil's advocate just because I, like you were just saying, these aren't just ideas for us anymore. We've actually been working with these for a long time. And so like, it's hard for me to play devil's advocate. That's all I'm going to say. So throughout these, I'm trying to play devil's advocate, but so many times I'm like, I don't have anything, I don't have anything to say.
Well, it's okay. You can reference your friends. It's just like, my dearest friend, again, who died at 41 from a heroin overdose, and he used to, life sucks. And, I said to him, okay, dude, so what are you going to do about it? What are you going to do about it? Huh? and he could never take it past that place. He was a very sensitive man. He was
Yeah.
very sensitive. Yes. And actually, his overdose, I think, was really kind of a suicide. And I
And
still love him to my toes. I love him to my toes. But I also have been, and particularly now with old people who are lapsing into endless bitterness because they've lost youth, and now life has no meaning. It's, well, life is still unfolding in the middle of eternity. That is happening. And again, this is not a belief system. This is a fact. This
yeah,
is a fact.
we are going to die. We have from everything we've ever known on this planet, we have one shot at this.
Hi.
No one has ever come back to life that we know have
Hi.
factually and lived a second life. Most of stories and whatever, that's another thing. But we all, from our knowledge, we die and that is the end. So
Yeah, for us regular people,
yeah,
So again, the lovely difference, and one of the only differences foundationally between the mystical religious expressions of the West and the mystical religious expressions of the East is the West, which is a terrible, terrible foundation, says that we are here to be tested. In the East, they say we are here to learn. So let's just work with that model for a little bit and say that if we are given this experience in which to learn, what are we supposed to learn from it? Yes? Let's start with that as an investigation. What, if we, what possible lesson is there to be learned that would make this experience, again, not just worthwhile, but a gift, like Kung Fu Panda?
yeah.
Yes?
And I guess for me, you know, dealing with this idea right now, still today in my life, thinking about this all the time, I think that for me, it's, I want to go back to the Pokemon thing that I've just been dealing with. There's a Pokemon is getting really popular now. People are going to the stores and they're buying out all the Pokemon and then they're reselling online for twice the price. And I was having this conversation and I was like, what about the kids? Like they're the ones, these are made for the kids, but also if we don't give the kids cards, they're not going to grow up to love these things. And so we're kind of hurting, the whole thing. But he was like, his whole thing was screw the kids. It's not about them. It's about me, my family. If you want to, you can get up and go get there before me and go get the boxes and you can buy them all out and you can go make the money. But if you don't do it, I'm going to do it because it's about me, my family. I need to make sure that they're good. Screw everybody else. That's basically what he was saying.
Again, that's his choice. And, sorrowfully, the outcome of that is a very, very, very lonely life.
Yeah. And that's kind of what I'm dealing with is if everyone thinks like that, the world will be a really shitty place. Opposed to
most people do. Most people do. And that's why the world is an amazingly shitty place. That's why the world has a norm where every single year, to uphold capitalism and profit, enough food is thrown away that, if it was given to the poor suffering people who are starving, there wouldn't be any starving people. It's, this is still wrong. We're working with it. We have to work with it, but we do not have to say that it's right.
Yeah. And so for me, I think take that to the polar opposite, giving, maybe not, you don't have to give everything and you don't have to just make that the main focus. But if everybody were to think the opposite of that guy, and it's, instead of me, my family, we're the most important thing and fuck everyone else. It was, hey, let's try to help everyone else out first, and then we'll focus not first, but let's try to think a little bit more broad. Let's try to think of other people and ourselves. Let's try to make it work for everybody, And if we all try to do that, just even to a little bit more degree than fuck them all, it's about me and my family. If we were all just like, just try to just spread our wealth out a little more, try to help a little more, try to give a little more. And the one saying that you've told me is, let's try to shine a little part of our globe. We're here for a little time. Let's just try to shine a little part of this globe that we are on, And that I feel like is a useful way to spend our lives,
Well, by the way, this is the old-fashioned idea in almost all religions of tithing, right? And the reference is that you give 10% of what you have. You give it back to people who are less fortunate. 10%. Yes.
Right.
So this guy who says it's all about me and my family, it's like, okay, it can be like that, but how about giving just a little bit back, just a little bit back, you see some, you see some poor guy on the corner, give him $1. What the hell,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
the norm, so that then your family is not impacted or not impacted negatively. Your family still has the abundance that you want them to have. But again, there's enough left over so that you give a little bit back. Now, if
Mhm.
that's the shine one corner of the world, which, by the way, anybody listening to that is a paraphrase of what the Buddha said. The Buddha said that our responsibilities as human beings is to light one corner of the world. We do our little bit. And if everybody took that on, just to do a little bit, you don't have to give away everything so that your family starves. But by God, you can give away just a
Yeah.
little bit, just a little bit.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
remember,
Exactly. You don't have to put yourself. Sorry.
well, I just want to finish that. This is, the shine, it changing, is Suzuki Roshi, whose English was terrible. So when he said that the Buddha said, shine one corner of the world, shine one
I
corner of
think
the world,
that's great.
right? So
Yeah.
when an American student pointed out the difference, Suzuki Roshi went, let's stick with shine one corner of the world. Because
Yeah.
that says it takes a little work.
Just
You
a little bit of
understand?
elbow grease. Yeah.
A little bit of elbow grease.
Yeah.
But the outcome of that, again, is, another human being or another being, right, is benefited without us being evicted or our children not having clothing or all the rest of that stuff. The fact is we can easily do both. And if everybody got on deck with this, the world would be transformed just by that. Now, people say tithing is compromised because what happens is the church says tithes to me, and then when a person who doesn't have a whole bunch of money at Sunday church puts
Yeah.
$1 in the money thing, and then they're having trouble feeding their kids, and then the church takes that money and gets golden implements to do ritual with. No,
That's a little fucked up. It doesn't make sense.
very fucked up. That's wrong. As opposed to my teacher in India who said, tithe, it's important, but you tithe to whomever you want,
Yeah. Yeah,
right?
I think you have a good point though to those people that are saying, it's about me and fuck everybody else. Is it doesn't have to be that. You don't have to put yourself out to help other people. You know, like if you're looking at it as it's either all in or all out, it doesn't have to be like that. It can be you're focused 90% on you, your family, make sure that you guys have everything good, but there's still a little, it's like about balance. You want to try to balance it out instead of being extreme on one or the other side. I'm going to give away everything or I'm going to keep everything. It's just be in the balance, and I think that'll make the world and lives a lot, a lot better. I think. I don't know.
Potentially, you see, potentially. And this is the other thing that we are transitioning into, an ever deepening hardness, which is our choice collectively. We can do that. We can do that. Yes. But we also collectively can choose to become more tender with each other. That is also free will. Now, the benefit of hard is you won't be hurt as much, I guess. The benefit of tenderness is then you can relax.
Yeah.
Relax a little bit. You do not have to feel that everybody you come in contact with is out to get you. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
And I mean, this might sound like I don't know what the word might be, like conceited or cocky or something, but I bet you if those people were to relax, they might find that life would actually be a little bit more, more not just longer, but more prosperous too. Because when you're angry and you're, tensed up all the time, I feel like that just hurts your body. Like physically, that's not good for your body. And like and mentally, it's not good for your mind too. So I feel like people who just try the opposite, maybe for once in a
Right.
while,
Again,
find some.
you use the word prosperous, which I understand in terms of taking care of my family based on money and all the rest of it. If you don't mind, the word that I think that you actually meant was life becomes richer,
Abundant, more abundant.
more abundant. Yes, all by
Yeah,
itself, all by
yeah,
itself. You see,
yeah,
because it already is abundant unto uh, you know, the Milky Way galaxy was given to that person and each member of his family alone.
yeah.
The Milky Way galaxy is given to you alone. The Milky Way, because the body separates us from everybody else, the Milky Way galaxy is given to me alone. The sun shining through my doorway right now is given to me alone. That is a fairly significant abundance. Yes or no, dude?
Yes, and but I think that I can see why it's hard for a lot of the general public or general, I don't know how to say that, but a lot of people to feel that that's not a gift, because they're so bogged down with all of the drudgery and mundanity that they can't take the filter off and they can't appreciate the sun or the little things. For them, it's like, how the hell do you expect me to appreciate the sun when I have to deal with all of my bills and my freaking, my whatever, my animals and my kids and my job and whatever it is, it's like this.
Well, the answer is for anybody who's watching this, if they do, right? If you have the leisure time to watch this, you have the leisure time to contemplate the fact that you alone are given the gift of a life in eternity. Your children, each of your children are given that gift too. If you have the leisure to do that, it means that in and amongst bills, chills, and spills, you do have leisure.
Yeah, there are moments of leisure.
Right?
Yeah, and in this very moment, if you're sitting down, or if you and me are sitting down and talking, and someone's watching us in this very moment, for all of us, what's bad,
Indeed,
What's
right
bad?
now.
Right now, this very moment, yeah.
Now, maybe in 15 minutes that you've got to go back to work to do bills, chills, and spills.
Yeah.
Then we're back to the present being a gift. Yeah, that is, we're not denying that. I'm not denying that. I've been at, I'm 70 years old and I still have to work,
Yeah.
right? And I've been working since I left home at 16. Shit. I've been working since I was 12, for God's sake. Right?
Yeah, it's not, this isn't some cure-all saying you never have to work again, life's going to be easy, and there's a secret cure-all, it's the secret truth, but no, this is like life is going to be hard, but there's also beauty in that if you are able to balance the two out and use your eyes.
Beauty, but astonishing beauty. Astonishing beauty. Look up into the drifters or the coasters up on the roof. When this old world is getting me down, I go up where the air is fresh and sweet, up on the roof. Yes, we all have this capacity. It is a choice. And in making this choice, we cease to be victims. Huh?
Yeah, so I remember dealing with these ideas at like, I think I was probably 16 when I really started to think, but 16, 17, where you would talk about the beauty of like a sunset. And I would really just be like, how do I take in the beauty of a sunset? Like, what does that mean? Like, I'm looking at it, but how do I absorb the beauty of this? Like, it's not nourishing me. I was like, at that point, I was like really trying to think of it. And an on-road, and I think this just might help people who have no on-road into this, and they're just trying to figure out how do I make sense of this? Is like, for me, one thing that really helped is looking at taking pictures myself and then looking at a really good picture I took and of like nature, of trees, and then just getting into other people's pictures and seeing photography of the most beautiful, mind-boggling, and like that, like obviously that's not what you should be doing, but it's an on-road into look at what is there, look how beautiful, and that is how you take in the beauty. You look at it and you're like, oh my God, this is the most amazing thing I've ever seen. I want to frame it and put on a picture and preserve this site because it's amazing. And that can be all of life if we take our filters off and like the sunset,
Or just be careful, because again, it does not need to be all of life, but it can be a significant portion of life. The fact that in eternity you and I know each other, if we really think about the impossibility of this, it's impossible. This is impossible. We are articulated, our bodies anyway, are articulated stardust that ends up being Alex and Chris. And here we are using this astonishing expression of technology to converse with each other in the middle of the Milky Way galaxy. This is real. This is real. This is not an idea. It is not a belief system. You do not have to believe in the Holy Ghost to take this in. These are facts. But
sorry, no, continue. Yeah, no, continue.
But once again, if they only stay as ideas, there's very little nourishment. So the rigor of this is to go into bullshit, and then okay, what's the bullshit about? Why do I say bullshit? And then you put that up against the mirror of the fact,
Hmm. Yeah.
that in the midst of bills, chills, and spills, you alone are given a relationship with the Milky Way galaxy. This is not
Yeah.
bullshit. It's the truth. We're in the
Yeah.
middle of the Milky Way galaxy. It's true. And every night, if you can go up on the roof and get away from enough light pollution, it's right there. It's right there. Yes.
Yeah.
And again, we are not warmed by the sun. We are warmed by a star.
Yeah. And so to kind of finish what I was saying with looking up at the stars or looking at a canyon, with like the Grand Canyon or anything amazing and just spectacular, it is great to have a picture and it's cool to look at a picture, but when you're actually there seeing it in person, for me nowadays when I do experience things like that, when I do look up at the sky at nighttime and see the stars, or I'm in even when I told you, even when I'm walking my dog and I just get one of those moments of like I'm alive. But like it's a really good example for people who don't have an on-road into this. Like when you're at the Grand Canyon and you're not just looking at a picture of it, you're there looking at it. It's like for me when I am in those experiences, I'm like, oh, like how lucky am I? Like I'm experiencing this. I'm like, it's so beautiful. I'm like, it took a while for me being 15 to 25 to really understand that I'm getting to experience this. This is that this is the Milky Way galaxy and I am experiencing it instead of you know, it was cool to have a picture of it and look at the picture and be like, that's a great picture. But now it's even more amazing to be an experienced part of that and to, get to, be
And
there.
it doesn't need to be necessarily mega, the Milky
Yeah.
Way galaxy, the Grand Canyon.
I-
It can be you looking at your dog or cat,
Yeah.
which again we take absolutely for granted. When
Yeah.
when I have Big Boy on my lap, I mean, he's a predator. And he allows me to have a relationship with him. Yes. And again, even though I'm a trained martial artist, I don't know
Yeah.
if I would like to fight with Big Boy. I think Big Boy would kick my ass.
So I just want to show you a picture really fast. But my cat, one of my cats, you know how he ran away?
Uh-huh, right.
He came back, and I don't know if you can see this picture. Let's see if I can put it up and
It's
let
blurry, dude. It's blurry. I can't see it.
you
I
can't
can't.
see it. Okay, okay. Maybe I could put it up on the screen, but it's hard to see. But maybe I'll put it in the video for other people
So
to
tell
see.
me, what is it? What is
But
it?
it's my two cats, and
Uh-huh.
they're like laying on top of each other like in like a pretzel. But my cat lays on top of my other dogs like that. So I have a cat laying on top of my dog, like wrapped up all over the dog, and it's like these two, totally different species who would probably not be friends in the wild, but they're
No, they
so
would not.
comfortable with each
They
other.
would not be. So uh, uh, again, we have to be careful that this does not lapse into touchy feely.
Hmm.
Yes. Because again, touchy feely has no bearing in terms of bills, chills, and spills. And I
Yeah,
get
yeah,
that. It's like
yeah,
my friend in New York when I was talking about being in the now. He went, I've told this to you, ow, stop and smell the roses. Well,
yeah,
in the midst of, children's livers being cut out of their bodies so rich people can get new livers,
yeah,
stopping and smelling the roses is stupid. It's stupid. Considering the rose's place in eternity, not so much. Not so much.
yeah.
How does stardust over billions of years articulate into a rose? Well, Chris, it's evolution. Oh, okay, that answers it, right? It's still equally as impossible. Impossible. You dig?
Yeah.
So this is
So
where
then let me try to think how I can bring that then back to some form of foundation that's not too just a woo woo. I guess for me, I guess like the fact that these two creatures that would be in opposition in the wild, when they're able to come to a level of just complete, not fight or flight, but just relaxation and comfortability with each other, they two opposing creatures who would usually be fighting are now just chilling and having a good time, and it's I think that is possible for all of us. We can all do that. We can all kind of get out of the fight or flight and love our neighbors, if
Well, you
things
see,
aren't bad.
then it goes back into this stuff that is so true that it's become cliche. And when it becomes cliche, we're back into, at best, an engaging idea.
Yeah.
That's why with each one of us, the rigor of gaining abundance without having to have an open friggin' credit card, you know what I'm saying? But
Yeah.
the abundance of what we have anyway, just in being, it is a process of, again, going into why do each one of us think that it's bullshit, and then see if the bullshit idea is valid.
Hi. Yeah, no, I think it's great. Yeah, and I think that's really important for anybody else listening to this because
Well, that's
I'll
how
be
you make it. That's how it gains potency, and I have done that too. I'm just as cynical as anyone I've ever known. Please,
yeah.
I'm from New York. Give me a break.
Yeah.
Yes. The fact is now, each night when I go out as an old man and look up into the sky, I am viewing eternity. I'm not viewing Orion in the night sky, or Sagittarius or Venus. I am looking at eternity. It's really happening. Yes? And if I may, I'm going to quote that Zen line, while you cannot hang a sword in empty space. What happens if you put a sword in empty space? What
It would
happens?
it would just fall down, right? It
It'll
wouldn't.
fall down.
Yeah, there's nowhere to hang it.
While you cannot hang a sword in empty space, the river of stars, which is what the Asians call the Milky Way galaxy, the rivers, while you cannot hang a sword in empty space, the river of stars floats a refuge. What is the refuge? The refuge is planet Earth. Now, this is true. You understand me? This
Yeah.
is the truth.
Yeah.
Somehow, eternity has refined and refined and refined and refined to you and I being able, should we choose, yes, to
Yeah.
look out each night into eternity, always and everywhere. And this is like an aside. You understand? Right? Now, will it help you pay the bills? No, but it
Yeah.
will help balance the mundanity of paying the bills. And then, of course, we get into who is it who is actually viewing it.
Yeah. Well, I
And then,
mean, we think, those simple ideas of, like that I was starting off with, just not simple. They're definitely not simple, but they're not as even as complex as what we were just talking about. But like, what came before the first thing? That's like something a kid can think of. A kid can contemplate those ideas. But then when you start to get into what you were just saying is how can all of the billions of years of atoms and stardust form into this computer that now is sending electrons to you that we are talking, and then somebody else can be viewing it through, all these things are happening, and we're so
well,
used to it.
dude, if I may, the answer to that would be, oh, for God's sake, Alex, right? The computer is man-made. Yes? So
Mhm.
I got that. I understand that. I got that. But let's just say, how does stardust uh, um, um, become specific enough? And it's like, it's evolution, Chris. Okay, that is the method. That is not the cause. You understand? That's the method. That is
That's how it occurs, but that
right.
is not
That is
why
not.
it
That
occurs.
is not. Yeah, that is not why it occurs.
Yeah.
Yes, and then we're back to the mystery of it. But it is. It comes down to such specificity that, again, stardust manifests as the chair I'm sitting on, and it manifests into an orange. The difference is that if I were to bite my chair, it would not taste good. But if I bite into an orange, if I am, again, fortunate enough to have an orange, yes, to this astonishing expression, the specificity of it, becoming then this fruit that tastes wonderful in the specificity of my taste buds. Yes?
Yeah.
Now, all of this is free. You dig? All of this is free. You don't need a credit card or a Lexus or arm candy or on and on and on and on. All this stuff is free. It's all given. Now, in coming back to this with the rigor and the burden, but the rigor of going, man, bullshit. Okay, why do you say that? And what is the validity of the foundation of you being in indignation about supposed to be gaining abundance from re-acknowledging the miracle of an orange?
Yeah. Yeah. I guess you're right. Yeah, I guess it's because I'm just trying to think. I mean, I'm not a good person to answer this, but I think a lot of people, maybe including me, we've been taught by society so much that bags and Lexuses and new toys, those are gonna make you happy, you know? And or nowadays going to the music festival or or traveling to Asia, or like these things that people, there's like the things that are going to fulfill you in some way, which I mean, I don't know if that's necessarily true. I think like traveling maybe can give you some perspective, but I don't think it'll fulfill you in any way, you know? So
Well,
like,
if may, just because we're up at time, let's stop now before we both get too tired, and then we'll return to this next time. But the fact is, the wonderful thing with choice is that we can do both.
yeah,
You can do arm candy and Lexuses and rock concerts and all that stuff. You can also do the Milky Way galaxy every night.
yeah,
And in all of that, what we end up with is this astonishing abundance instead of using the reference of more is better. He who dies with the most toys wins. Therefore, I don't have a Lexus. Therefore, my life sucks. Just look at those two perspectives, and
yeah,
which one would you rather invest in? That's all.
yeah.
As choice, as free will.
As your choice, yeah, we have the choice, yeah,
Each one of us
yeah.
has this choice.
Yeah, so if it's my choice, why focus on the negative if I have the choice to focus on the positive and to make my life better? But I
Right.
mean, it's probably easier said than done, right?
Well, no, it takes work and it takes the rigor, and everybody's allowed to go bullshit. But then you have to say, okay, what are the specifics of your bullshit? Why are you saying that? What in you is so threadbare that you would feel that even in engaging these ideas, right, that again, it's woo woo. None of this is woo woo. These are
Yeah,
all facts.
yeah,
None of this involves a belief system. You do not have to be, a Muslim or a Christian or a Buddhist, right, to believe in these ideas. You can be an astrophysicist, for God's sake, and say, no, these are not belief systems. These are facts. As much as we know, these are
mhm,
facts. So, and it is imperative that we start with this because we are in a culture that, again, disdains woo woo belief. We are not talking about woo woo belief. We may be talking about woo woo fact, but we're not
yeah,
talking about woo woo belief.
yeah.
Yeah. And with that, dude, let's stop
All
and
right,
love to you. And I'll see
all
you
right,
next
cool, cool.
time. Yeah.
All right,
Yeah.
sounds
All
good,
right.
man. You have a good
Okay.
day.